Welcome guys to a new video here at Online Driving Academy. So today will be the first video lesson plus test format, right? So we'll be starting off with a lesson in which I will be teaching you road markings. We'll be going through the different road markings that you may find on a road. We will be going through what it means, where you will find it, stuff like that. And then we will be going towards a test, right? So you will test the knowledge that you basically learned from this video. So as always, before we start the video, I show you guys the latest testimonials. I don't read them. I just scroll through them, and you have to pause the video to read each one, as I need you guys to understand that these videos are real and they will in fact help you in your test. So let's get started with that. So how this will work is that I will be describing and I will be giving you more information about the road markings, and then I will be reading the information given on screen, right? So let us start with this. On the left hand side, we can see obviously this gray color will represent the road, the tar, and then the white line is a solid white line. Now we'll be getting to what a solid white line means. However, you should know that for now, you don't ever go near those white lines, right? You don't stop your vehicle on that white line. So we can see it says stop in white writing there, and we can see a black arrow. Now, what does this black arrow mean? So the black arrow is basically showing you the direction of motion, right? There is no black arrow on the road, but I added it there so you can see the direction in which your vehicle will be traveling, right? So this is a stop line. You have to completely stop your vehicle before the solid white line, and you are only allowed to take off again once it is safe to do so. So what does that mean? It means that once you arrive at the stop sign, you have to stop before these white lines, right? You're not allowed to go on the white line, and you're not allowed to go past that white line and then stop. You have to stop before the white line. And then another thing is, when they say you are only allowed to take off again once it is safe to do so, that basically means that you can only take off once there are no other vehicles in the way, right? Let's say the other vehicle has moved past and now you have a clear path ahead of you. That is when it is safe to do so, and that is when you go, right? We will be going to the next sign, which will be the yield sign. Now, you can identify this with an upside down triangle, right? It is the outline of a triangle. Again, the black arrow is showing you the direction in which your vehicle will be moving. And this will have a broken up white line, right? So it says yield line. You need to slow down and give way to other road users. You don't need to come to a complete stop if there aren't other vehicles around. So this, in a way, will be treated like the stop sign. So your vehicle will approach this yield sign. If there are no other vehicles, there's no reason that you have to stop. You can just continue, right? Slow down a bit and then continue. However, if there are other vehicles around, let's say there's a vehicle in front of you, you have to stop your vehicle, right? So that is the difference. One, you have to completely stop, and one, you have to yield. So our next road marking will be a pedestrian crossing. Now we can see there are two separate lanes there, each going in a separate direction. One is going forward and the other one is coming in the opposite direction, right? And we can see two solid lines going completely across the road. So what does this mean? This is a pedestrian crossing, right? You have to give way to pedestrians that are either entering the pedestrian crossing or to those that are already on the pedestrian crossing. So what does that mean? That means if you are driving and you see people, they're already walking across the road, you have to stop your vehicle and allow them to pass. And if there are people that are about to enter this, you still have to pass. There's no such thing as they must wait and you have right of way. Okay? At any pedestrian crossing, the pedestrians have the right of way. So just remember that. Now we can see a different type of pedestrian crossing, right? This is still a pedestrian crossing. Now, again, we can see two different directions of motion of traffic. One is going forwards, the other one is coming backwards, right, in the other direction. However, we can see blocks, right? It's not like solid straight lines like the previous one. Here we can see broken up rectangular blocks. So this is a block pedestrian crossing. It's basically the same thing. It's just the design is different in a way. So here you have to give way to pedestrians that are either entering the pedestrian crossing or to those that are already on the pedestrian crossing. So it's exactly the same. You just have to remember there are two different styles that apply. So the next road surface marking will be a solid white line. Now you'll be driving and you will be going forward, and there will be a solid white line and another lane of traffic that's going in the opposite direction. So when you see the solid white line, your vehicle is not allowed to cross this white line, right? No parts of your vehicle may even touch the white line, right? Forget about crossing the white line. You're not even allowed to drive on top of this white line. So the only two times that you are indeed allowed to cross the line is, number one, if you have to access property on the other side. So let's say you are driving on the left-hand side of the road and your house is on the right-hand side of the road next to the other lane. That's the only time that you can cross that solid white line to get to your property. The second time that you may cross this line is to avoid a vehicle that is broken down on the road. Now, let's say you are driving forward and there's a vehicle that is broken down in front of you, and the only way to get around him is to cross this white line. That's the only time that you may cross it. So just remember these two conditions, as they are the only time that you may cross the solid white line. So now we go onto a solid white line, but the flow of traffic is different, right? In both lanes, the traffic is going in the same direction. They're not going in the opposite direction. So in this way, you are still not allowed to go onto the other lane. You both have to drive in your separate lanes, right? Your vehicle is not allowed to cross this lane, or this line, sorry. Now we see a yellow left line. You can see the arrow is pointing that you are driving ahead, and then we see a yellow line to the left. So here you are not allowed to drive over this yellow line. The only circumstance in which you can cross this line is when you allow another vehicle to overtake. Now remember, you are allowing another vehicle to overtake. You are not overtaking, right? So what does that mean? That means if you're driving on this road, you go a little bit towards the left, right, beyond that yellow line, and the person that is behind you will overtake you. So that's the only time that you're allowed to cross this. Another time that you are actually allowed, that's not shown on screen, is if your vehicle breaks down. You're allowed to stop your vehicle towards the left side of this line, but obviously not forever. You're not allowed to park here, right? Only if your vehicle breaks down. We then go on to a painted island. Now we can see this yellow line, and it is between two solid white lines. So you are not allowed to drive here on this marking, and you are not allowed to stop. So remember, you're not allowed to park here, you're not allowed to stop here, and you're not allowed to drive on top of this painted island. Now there are different types of islands. Some are larger than the other. As we can see that this is a slightly larger one, right? So you are not allowed to drive or stop on this marking. Just remember that. And we can see there's one arrow going forwards and there's another arrow in another lane going in the opposite direction. Now you're not allowed to drive or stop on this marking. Now we come across a parking bay. Now we can see in this road surface marking that there are white lines again, and there's another arrow. Now the arrow, we already know what that means. So you can see there's a border there, right? There's a rectangular space encompassed within these white lines. Now what does that mean? That basically outlines the area in which you are allowed to park your vehicle. So as you are driving, you see these two lines, you have to park your vehicle between those two. So it says here, you are only allowed to park within the white lines. That's basically self-explanatory. Just remember this. Sometimes you will see parking bays with letters on them. I will get to that in this video. So here it is, right? It is identified by a yellow line, like a circle going around the letter, and the letter will be a capital letter. So you may see capital letter A, capital letter F. I will be going through them. So this here in this road marking, you can see a capital letter A. So this parking is reserved for ambulances only. Remember, the A, capital A, stands for ambulances, right? The next one will be capital letter B. Now B will stand for buses. So this parking bay is only reserved for buses. No other type of vehicle may be able to stop and park on this area, right? Now we can see a capital letter T. So T will obviously stand for taxis. Therefore, this parking bay is reserved for taxis only. Now you will see a capital letter F, right? This parking is reserved for firefighting vehicles only. So vehicles like your fire truck, your stuff like that, those are considered firefighting vehicles. Therefore, they're the only type of vehicles that will be allowed to stop on this parking bay. Now we can see two letters, right? It's not only one anymore. So you will see a capital letter M and a capital letter B that is within a yellow circle, right? The outline of a circle. So M and B will basically stand for minibuses. Therefore, this parking is reserved for minibuses only. Now we can see a capital letter D, right? We're back to one letter. So the capital letter D will stand for Defense Force. So this basically means that the parking is reserved for Defense Force vehicles only. We now go on to a capital letter P. So this parking will be reserved for police vehicles only. No one else is allowed to park there besides police vehicles. Now we see a capital letter R. So this parking will be reserved for rickshaws only. We see a capital letter L here. Again, it is within a yellow outline of a circle, right? So this parking spot is known as a loading zone. Now we see a parking bay with an icon of a wheelchair. So this will be a disabled person, right? This will be a parking reserved for disabled persons only. It will be exclusively for vehicles carrying disabled persons, right? No one else is allowed to park there. Now, a common misconception would be that elderly people that are over 65, or even 55, right? They will be able to park here. That is incorrect. The only people that are allowed to park here are disabled persons, right? It doesn't matter if you are elderly or not. You have to be disabled. Now we can come to a reserved lane. You can see it says bus, right? Written in yellow writing. And we can see a broken up yellow line. So that lane is specifically for buses, right? Taxis are not allowed there. Hatchbacks are not allowed there. SUVs are not allowed there. It is purely for buses. So this lane is reserved for buses only. No other vehicle may drive on this lane. Just remember that. We see a very similar marking. However, here it says tram rather than saying bus. So this lane is reserved for trams only. No other vehicle may drive on this lane. Now this is a little confusing as a lot of people may not understand what this sign means. Now we can see a sort of a diamond shape there, and that basically refers to hazardous goods vehicles, right? Let me read the information and then I will tell you what that is. So this lane is reserved for hazardous goods vehicles only. No other vehicle may drive on this lane. Now what is a hazardous goods vehicle? Think of a truck carrying fuel or a different type of gas. That is a hazardous goods vehicle, right? So they have a special lane in order to travel on. Now we can see a bicycle icon there. So this obviously means that the lane is reserved for bicycles only, right? No other vehicle may drive on this lane. Now this is a little confusing as well, because this is known as a box junction. So you are not allowed to stop on this box unless you're entering the road from the side to turn left or right. Now let's look at this carefully. You can see there's a road going forward as there are two arrows, one indicating the forward direction and the other indicating the direction going the opposite direction, right? And now we can see another road that is entering this main road from the left. So if a vehicle approaches from the left-hand side, they are allowed to stop on this yellow box only if they are turning left or right. You are not allowed to go on that box and stop, right? That is reserved for them. So hopefully that will make it a lot easier to understand. And now we come to a solid red line. I think this is the first time we will be going over this. So you are not allowed to stop on this red line at all. Now remember, a red line is talking about stopping, right? A yellow line will be talking about parking. I will show you what I mean once we get to the next one and the one after that. Now we are talking about a broken red line. So you are not allowed to stop at this section during the time indicated on the road sign nearby. Now there will be a road sign there and it will give you a specific time of the day. And if it is during the time of day that you arrive here at this broken red line, you are not allowed to stop there, right? So always be on the lookout for this road sign when you see a broken red line. Now we come to a solid yellow line. So you are not allowed to park next to the yellow line at all. Now remember what I said. I said look at the red line. And the red line is referring to stopping a vehicle. You are not allowed to stop your vehicle. Your yellow line is talking about parking a vehicle. So that will be different, right? So when you see a solid yellow line, you're not allowed to park your vehicle next to this yellow line at all. Now we come to a broken yellow line. So you are not allowed to park here during the time indicated on the road sign. So again, there will be a road sign there with a specific time on the road sign. And if it is during the time that you see that road sign, then you are not allowed to park your vehicle near this broken yellow line, right? Now here we can see a motorcycle, right? However, there's a yellow line going through the sign. And I always tell you, if there's a line going through a sign, whether it is red or yellow, you are not allowed to do something. And obviously, because this is a road marking, motorcycles are not allowed beyond this point. So if you are riding a motorcycle and if you see this marking on the road, you are not allowed to ride past that sign, right? Past that marking, you are not allowed to do that. Obviously, you'll have to either take a different lane or you will have to turn around and go in the opposite direction. So just remember that. Now we see two white lines. However, they are crossing each other, right? So this means that there's a railway crossing ahead. Whenever you see the sign, as you can see, the arrow there is pointing towards the forwards direction. Now we see sort of an icon of an aeroplane, right? This will be on a certain lane. It may be on the left lane, on the right lane. It just depends. And this marking will give extra guidance to road users in respect to the direction of the airport. So if the airport is towards the left direction, this icon of an aeroplane will be on the left lane. Just remember that. This is actually quite confusing for your students learning your road markings and road signs. So this is actually an indication of an arrest bed ahead. Now you may be wondering what that is. I will tell you about that. Let's just go through how we identify this road markings. So we can see there are 3 sets with 3 squares in each. Sometimes there will be squares, sometimes there will be rectangles. And we can see they are either red or white. And this will indicate that there's an arrestor bed ahead. Now you may be wondering what that is. So what is an arrestor bed? An arrestor bed is a specially designed area located on downhill sections of roads, typically for use by trucks experiencing brake failures or other emergencies. So if a truck is going downhill and if their brakes fail, this is there to slow down the speed, right? So these are areas filled with materials such as gravel or sand, which are intended to slow down or stop a vehicle that has lost control. So when a truck enters an arrestor bed, the resistance of the material helps to bring the vehicle to a safe stop, preventing it from continuing down the slope and potentially causing a serious accident. Right, we have arrived at the questions. I have 15 questions for you guys. And one thing that I want you guys to do, if we get to a question and you don't understand what the marking means, go back to the video, watch it, and come back and answer it, right? So question 1, what should you do when you see this road marking? Now we can see there are 2 lanes, each going in a different direction, and we can see white rectangles, they're broken up rectangles, right? So automatically we can identify that this will be a pedestrian crossing, and we know what will happen if you arrive at a pedestrian crossing. So let's look at the options. Option A, only allow buses to pass. Option B, give way to pedestrians. Or option C, continue driving as you have the right of way. Now, obviously, you cannot continue driving as the pedestrians have the right of way, and there's no such thing as allow buses to pass. Therefore, the correct option will be option B, give way to pedestrians. Question 2, what are you not allowed to do when you see this road marking? Now, read the question very carefully because sometimes they can change it up. They're asking you what are you not allowed to do, right? So we can see a solid white line, and we can see 2 arrows going in opposite direction. That refers to 2 lanes going in opposite directions, right? So option A, let trams overtake you. Obviously, it doesn't mention anything about trams, so it cannot be option A. Is it B, always stay on the left side of the road? Obviously, that would be something that you have to do, but that's not something that you're not allowed to do, right? So is it option C, go over the solid white line? That is correct because you're not allowed to go over the solid white line. Read the question very carefully, otherwise it can catch you out. Question 3, under which circumstances are you allowed to cross the line? Right? Again, solid white line, 2 lanes going in opposite directions. So is it option A, if you live on the opposite side of the road? We know that's correct. Is it option B, if you are overtaking a broken vehicle? Again, that is correct. Or is it option C, both A and B are correct? Correct answer will indeed be option C. Both A and B are correct. Question 4, what type of vehicles are allowed to park here? Now we can see there's a yellow outline, circle outline, and there's a capital letter P. So we know P stands for a specific type of vehicle. So let's look at the options. Is it option A, police vehicles only? Is it B, purple vehicles? Or is it C, parameter vehicles? Now, P will only stand for police vehicles. Therefore, the correct answer will be option A. Question 5, what type of vehicles are allowed to park here? Now we can see a capital letter A, again within a yellow outline. So is it option A, all vehicles are allowed to park here? B, agricultural vehicles? Or C, ambulances only? So the correct answer will be option C, only ambulances are allowed to park here. Question 6, what are you supposed to do when you see this marking? There's an upside down triangle, right? And you are approaching this triangle. So what does that mean? Is it A, yield and give way to other vehicles? Is it B, increase your speed? Or is it C, come to a complete stop if there are no other vehicles around? Correct answer will be A. Question 7, are you allowed to stop on this yellow box to park? Is it no? Is it yes? Or only on weekends? I have told you are not allowed to park on this yellow box. Therefore, the correct answer will be option A. Question 8, which type of vehicles is this lane reserved for? Again, we're looking at a diamond shape there, and we know that is for hazardous goods vehicles only. So is it option A, jewelry vehicles? Is it option B, hazardous goods vehicles? Or is it C, hatchback vehicles? The correct answer will be option B. Question 9, which vehicle is not allowed to pass this marking? We can see a motorcycle with a yellow line going through. It's prohibiting motorcycles only. So is it A, an SUV, B, sedans, or is it C, motorcycles? Obviously, since there is a motorcycle in the road marking, it will be option C. Question 10, are you supposed to stop before the white line or after the white line? Is it option A, before? Is it option B, after? Or is it option C, there's no need to stop? Now, I have told you, if you see the stop sign with the white lines, you have to stop before the white lines. Therefore, your correct answer will be option A. Reached the end of the video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video. If you feel that it deserves a like, then give it a like, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. All the best to those that will be writing their test. I truly wish the best for you guys. Let me know how it is. And yeah, All the best. May God bless you. Goodbye.